I'm Danny Otto. Welcome into an all-new episode of That Recap Show. Now, before we get into the episode, just wanted to issue major spoiler alert. We are going to be going over everything that happened in episode 7 of the Daredevil Born Again series. So if you haven't watched that episode yet, you may want to pause this video, head over to DisneyPlus, check out that episode, and then come back and enjoy the breakdown. Now, with that out of the way, let's start the show.
Poppin' Off presents That Recap Show.
All right, joining with me to break down everything from episode 7 of the Daredevil Born Again series, it's Jon Jon Rico.
Hello.
Hello.
I didn't have like a quick reference for this episode, like
You
I
don't
did
have it?
times. Yeah.
Well, have I got a reference from you?
There we
He's back.
He's back!
Yeah.
that I thought was the smoothest way that this episode could have opened, because you just saw it in Fisk's face going, so he's back. And I was just like, oh shit.
Reminds me of Harry Potter when they finally see Voldemort and he's like, he's back.
I was going that way. I was going, I also heard the guy in Independence Day going,
"Hello, boys! I'm back!"
Oh yeah. Hello,
like,
boys.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of references, a whole bunch of people screaming I'm back, or he's back, or something like that. So that's my instant reactions to this episode. I thought it was perfect that it started off the episode and you could just kind of see this like, oh, kind of shit, what's happening now? Because he's even kind of questioning like, why is he back now? Like you know what I mean? Like he knows it's Matt, but like at the same time, it's like he obviously goes, well, what did I like? Who did something to make him come back? Type of thing. Why is he back now? So like all of that was kind of like culminating in just that one simple statement of, so he's back. Like shit. But before I throw to you for instant reactions, I have to say this. I have to officially say this. You were right. I was wrong.
Yeah.
And I was explaining to this before we even started recording that in case you didn't watch the last episodes, Muse's identity is what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Rico was right. I was wrong on this one. I so wanted it to be a red herring. And I was explaining before we even hit record that even as the whole scene was happening, up until it was blatantly obvious that, that Bastion was Muse, I was still like, holy shit, what a twist this would be if all of a sudden there's a scene of somebody dressed as Muse walking down the tunnels that the police are exploring and stuff like that, just to further separate like that scene, like the therapist office scene and that. I was like, could it be a twist like that? And then it was like, no, you're just dumb. I so wanted that twist to be there. I wanted that extra like element of
M. Night
twist.
Shyamalan.
Yeah, I wanted it to be twisty. Anyway, what were some of your instant reactions for episode 7?
Yeah, I guess it made it a little more obvious, especially in like later on the fact, because again, music gets taken out in this episode too. So it's like it's a good thing it didn't end up being a red herring too, because it really just showed that it didn't really have a lot of long-term plans for the guy to begin with. Like it's kind of crazy how much like he was kind of like this looming threat over the city, and then we learned who he was, like his whole like life background stuff, and then he's gone right there in that same episode. You're just like, oh, okay. Like I was like the way they were setting him up, I thought we were really gonna get like this like kind of over like this long arc with him that was going to kind of wrap up at the like more closely to the end of the season. Like I know we're really close there now, but I was expecting like just maybe like another episode or two out of this before like the finale, maybe.
Like more stalking, like
like more of like the back and forth between him and Matt too as Daredevil too, because we get that great fight between them, and then of course we get another great fight between them here as well. But I would have liked more of like kind of the cat and mouse chase, I guess, part of it, right? As opposed to like just like getting the meeting between the two each time out of nowhere. So yeah, I would have liked that too much, but that being said, like the performance that the actor who plays Bastion gave in this episode was really great too. I love like the interactions between him and Heather. Of course, I thought that was really great. But yeah, I like that in that reaction that Fist has to like when he hears that that Daredevil saved the Ayala girl,
Mhm.
and you kind of see like those little facial tics that he has, like kind of like him trying to like suppress his rage, which I think is just a great acting choice by Vincent D'Onofrio, just in general, the way he's able to do that to kind of convey what his character is feeling at that time. But it just kind of goes back to that situation or that conversation they had, I think, in the first episode or the second episode, or like if you should go back to any of your vigilante activities, like I'm going to come down on you.
Right,
And then
right.
it completely kicks out that whole thing. He's like, that motherfucker. I told him I was going to do this. And you can just see that in his face, like, okay, now I got to do it. But another scene that I really liked was when Daredevil goes to Bastion's apartment and he's feeling the drawings that like, that tell him that he's actually going after Heather, which I thought that was pretty wild that he was able to do that just based on him touching her face earlier in the episode.
Yep.
But Detective Powell comes in, hey, and then
immediately it's just
right out, and I'm like, ha, that's what you get, stupid. And then and then he just leaves too. So I thought that was really funny. And then he tries to do it again, I think to Muse or something like that. And then he like dodges it or something like that. So it was kind of cool, I think, later on. I think that was really cool. But yeah, that was a great little like laugh out loud moment for me. Like, yeah, that asshole really got that little baton hit right there after all the little shit talk they've been having back and forth.
yeah, absolutely. I thought that was hilarious. It was one of those little aside cuts where you go, ha.
Oh yeah, it's a classic like comic thing where you just see like the guy there, and then you just see Matt throw the thing, and then just see him bounce off his head. And he's like, I'm doing what I do.
Oh yeah. So you want to get to some big takeaways?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. All right, I'm gonna kick off big takeaways. With a question, I guess. The hell is Vanessa up to? Like, I am so interested now at what's going on because here's the thing. I can't tell who Vanessa is double crossing. I can't tell if Vanessa's like game is to actually double cross Fist or if she is double crossing the people that she basically past worked with and kind of sending them the Fisk so that Fisk can then eliminate them. And they're kind of like this Bonnie and Clyde couple where she's doing shady stuff and he's still doing shady stuff, but like not like out loud. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm so interested at what this is going to be because their relationship this entire season has felt very off. And so
massive tension.
Right. So, it's pointing towards she is like trying to double cross Fisk and eliminate him so that she can go back to, her criminal empire type of thing and kind of doing that because it was thriving, like type of thing with
she was running it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And she was in charge and she wasn't being told what to do. She was telling people what to do. That makes sense. But at the same time, I could see this whole other thing where her and Fisk, and we're not seeing all of the other aspects of their relationship. Her and Fisk have this, thing already kind of planned out where she's kind of slowly making it seem like there's this rift. And that's all like a play to just slowly take out all of these past members that she worked with type of thing to then say like to then have it where Fisk and her are basically running absolutely everything, all of the crime stuff and all of the political stuff. Like, you know what I mean? So like, I'm so interested to find out like what is actually happening. And so during like we only had one scene really with Vanessa in this episode, but during kind of the two different scenes, basically, I was just like, what is this game? I really want to know like what is going on between them and what is the like the play for Vanessa here. It's so confusing, and I don't mean confusing in like I don't like it. I'm confused and I want to know more type of thing.
Right.
Like I'm interested. Yeah, intriguing. That's the perfect word. I want to know more. But anyway, Rico, what were some of your big takeaways for episode 7?
Yeah, I think that's what makes both those characters one so fascinating, but also like just they're them two together is also so fascinating because one, it doesn't play off like your typical like lovey-dovey marriage. I guess you get like these two people
Yeah.
like they do love each other, but there's like this like professionalism about each one of them that they just every time they're together, like they're never really like holding on to each other and they're not physical affection type people, but they like are attracted to each other's power. I feel like, and now we're gonna see like ever since Fisk has been gone, yeah, her power has risen because she's been running things on his behalf, basically, or just running things on her own. And now that he's back, it's kind of causing like this big rift between them that led to them going to therapy to begin with,
Yeah.
obviously. Um, but now that like it doesn't seem like any of the issues that they've gone into therapy for are being resolved in any form. And I think that was a great scene between when Heather actually told them that I think a couple episodes back, she's like, "Are we here to like help a marriage? Or are we here to like dissolve it?"
Right.
Which I
Right.
thought was interesting, and I think that is the interesting arc when it comes to that storyline in general. And I think that's exactly why they played that scene where she obviously texts Luca like where what's happening, or did she text Buck and saying that Luca was coming alone or something like that? So we don't know what side she's playing. Yeah,
Oh.
so I think that's the interesting thing too, because right after that whole thing happens, and yeah, and I'll even get into that too because I even brought in. I talk a little bit about Buck here too as well, but after Buck takes out Luca, Fist says they're like, will you text Vanessa and see if she wants like something like to go or something to restaurant
Right.
like that. So
Right.
it's
Right.
like, okay, so maybe they were in cahoots, but like they still leave you with that like, what if she wasn't? Like this was just like a plan that went awry type of thing.
And that's a
Um,
smart ass thing to text back, like,
right,
"Hey,
right,
your
right.
your assassination attempt failed. What do you want from
Yeah,
the
yeah.
restaurant?" type of thing.
Yeah,
So
so yeah, it's a fun little like chess game that they're playing with each other. I feel like, or they're playing on us, and we see the moves ahead still.
right. Right.
Um, but so yeah, actually, I'll talk about Buck first because I was actually wondering when we were gonna finally see like Buck show off some sort of like skill set that he has because he's just kind of giving like this like strong silent figure that stands
Mhm.
next to Fisk as like his bodyguard, but we haven't really seen many instances where he's actually had to go into action.
Right.
And Buck is a character that's actually been Fist bodyguard in the comics for a long time too. I think he's actually like a much bigger, like drawn dude, but he's got a lot of history there with Fist in the comics. So he's a very capable person of being at Fist's side. And I was like, okay, so yeah, I was happy we got to see a form of why he's at in the position that he is right now.
Mhm.
Because in the Netflix series we had a guy like Wesley who was like
Right.
he was getting shit done for Fist, but he wasn't necessarily a guy who was getting his hands dirty all the time. And then ultimately that leads to like his death by Karen. But now he's got a guy like Buck who is very capable and clearly has some kind of like military or secret ops kind of background or something like that that makes him a big threat. So I'm excited to see more of that unfold here in the next couple of episodes because I feel like he's like the next guy that Daredevil has to get through to get to Fisk in some form. I just imagine that's going to be some kind of a
Mm.
confrontation. We'll see.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that was a good use of Buck there at the end of the episode. And also just the way that again him being used as kind of like the middleman of communication between Fisk and Vanessa too, I think is very interesting as well. We can see if that will be played in there at some form or another. But early on in the episode, after Heather takes out Muse, which again was kind of another thing we haven't really touched on, with the fact that
Yeah.
Heather was the one that took out Muse is a pretty shocking thing that happens in this episode. But after the whole thing where Fisk crime force is coming in and kind of assessing the crime scene, and then Fisk tells the one cop Nolan or whatever it is, or Detective North or something like that. That like you guys did this, not Daredevil. Like they
Right.
spin the truth, and then of course we get the scene with Daniel talking to BB in Fisk's office, and the way he persuades her to kind of skew the story about the Muse takedown was very, very much Tony Soprano coded. I
Yeah.
thought that was
You can
uh,
hear it.
oh, it was like just so perfectly done. Like he does that thing where like the like a typical mob guy would do, where like they're buddy with you, but they're telling you to do something or else bad things are gonna happen to you. But like, oh come on, I'd really appreciate if you would just write the story the way things would do. And but like everything he says sounds friendly, but like there's so much hidden underneath the actual words that he's
Mhm.
saying. But yeah, I think Michael Gandolfini just is nailing this role. I think of Daniel Blake, and the way he was just able to kind of channel his dad in this scene was really great. But it also goes back to when he played the actual young Tony Soprano in
Right.
the movie that came out a couple years ago. I can't remember the name, The Many Saints of Newark or something like that. So yeah, that just a great scene. That was actually one of my favorite scenes. Just kind of getting to see this Soprano type scene, and then later on we get, of course, a classic mob boss scene, of course, with the whole Buck and Luca thing,
Mhm.
and Fisk eating at the Italian restaurant all by himself, which is this classic kind of mob assassin scenario that happens in movies. So yeah, I just kind of like that we're getting that little tie-in there when it comes to Fisk storyline. It's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And this was the first, I think, moment that Daniel actually seemed intimidating whatsoever. Like before that, he was like, he was like a bro type of thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, maybe he gets in like a bar fight or something like that, but he didn't seem like someone that's like really going to be able to intimidate. This felt, you could feel it. Like this was like the turning point for his character too. So I'm very curious, like what we have, with his character moving forward.
But
and
he's only going to dig himself deeper.
Right. But it kind of seemed like before, like I said, it kind of just seemed like he was like, he was into politics and he's like kind of this bro-y guy. But now it actually seems like this is something that, he could actually thrive in doing, like doing the dirty work and stuff like that. So
especially with Fisk seeing his potential.
Right.
That's a big thing. That's a big confidence booster, I feel like.
Exactly. So I'm very curious about future for Daniel moving forward. Maybe not even just this season, but like a season, like the next season type of thing, like seeing his character kind of go deeper down this darker path type of thing. But do you want to get to some predictions?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, why don't you kick off predictions?
Okay, so something I thought was very interesting in this episode, of course, was during the whole kind of hostage situation with Muse and Heather. They're having a conversation back and forth. Of course, Heather's still trying to like psychoanalyze as much as she can before shit really hits the fan. But she straight up yells at Muse at one point that like anyone who puts on a mask is a coward, which it pretty much definitively showed her stance on that whole vigilante debate that we were talking about last time too, when she presented the idea of the book to Matt and all that. I think maybe that situation right there probably solidified her thoughts. Like that in that moment she decides like, okay, like fuck these guys, I don't like vigilantes anymore because one's just coming after me for no reason. Or for his own reasons, but they're still generally pretty messed up. But then the second that she says that, another vigilante comes in and
saves her.
But of course, the one thing that she takes from that is that he knew my name, which of course is going to lead to that big reveal to her about Matt's identity as Daredevil down the line. But I think it 100% means that like there's not going to be a happy ending for Matt and Heather here, especially after she kind of declared that stance on vigilantes. Like there's no way once she inevitably finds out that that's actually Matt, that it's going to end well for them or for her or for Matt. Like no one's really going to win in that scenario, I feel like too. And again, it all goes back to Matt's history when it comes to when he gets in really deep with the relationship with a woman too, it tends to be a tragic thing that ends up happening just in some form or another. So I just feel like that's not going to be very much different after some of the events of this episode.
Yeah, I actually, so along the same lines, I actually kind of took that as maybe not to say that like the relationship might like work out and happily ever after or anything like that, but I almost took that as maybe she immediately had a change of heart because she made that stance about vigilantes, wearing masks or cowards type of thing, and then she immediately gets another one that's coming to her rescue and stuff like that. So I almost thought that was her original stance was that, and then maybe this changed, like started to change her stance type of thing. And I'm really in like what I was kind of taking from that was I kind of already thought Heather was starting to dig into that. And I think we are going to have a reveal, but I think it's going to be her gathering the evidence type of thing and basically saying like, don't pretend I'm stupid type of thing. And I almost think the relationship ends like that because Matt isn't willing to fully admit that he is to her.
Oh yeah, that's always been the one thing that rift between them too.
Right,
that he won't open up in that way. Yeah,
right. And she's gonna know it, and she's gonna like say it to his face, like just be honest with me. And he's gonna be like, I can't, like I don't know what you want me to tell you because that's not like you know what I mean. Like I think it's gonna be like one of those type of things where. And then I almost think that that's going to set her down a path of, because she was researching her new book and stuff like that. I almost think she's going to kind of have a change of thought in vigilantes and stuff. And because we know that, this anti-vigilante task force started by Fisk is starting to grow. obviously, you know, with the public perception of they took him out, they got rid of the serial killer Muse and stuff like that. So there's going to be this rise of the anti-vigilante task force. And we know just from leaks already that season 2 is going to dive heavy into that. So I'm wondering if this whole interaction with Heather and Muse and now Daredevil has set Heather down a path that puts her in a crosshairs from Fisk. Because I took that whole thing of she's now going to have kind of a change of heart about vigilantes, being that some are necessary versus, you know, all of them are cowards, all of them, you know, there's something psychologically off. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think she was already kind of preliminary writing that. And then I think this whole event changed that. And now I think we're going to see further down the line, she's going to write this book and kind of start to defend like the need for certain vigilantes and stuff like that. And that's going to later put her in a crosshair with Fisk. And we know that Fisk is pissed because Matt is coming back as Daredevil. So like, I think ultimately I agree with you. I don't think there's going to be a happy ending between Matt and Heather, Heather in general, but I think it's ultimately because of this event changing her perception about certain vigilantes. So it's almost like we're getting to the same conclusion, but we're completely different ways of getting there. Type of thing. It's just really interesting. And this is kind of like what I kind of just wanted to say, like in my predictions. I have already said this multiple times, but I love this series on how they can kind of inch all of these storylines and all of these characters slowly forward till we get this inevitable collide. And we don't know exactly when or what that collision is going to be, but it's just really cool having this tension slowly build on all these sides. And I think the fact that Muse didn't take out Heather, because originally I kind of thought that was going to happen, and that was going to fuel, you know, Daredevil is like Matt is 100% going to be back, like in, and now this is it. He's back in. He's going for blood, like you know what I mean. But because that didn't happen, I'm wondering if she's going to have a bigger part down the line of the eventual overarching collision of, you know, Fisk and Daredevil, like, which is, I mean, going to happen, you know, probably in season 2, because this is where all of this is building now. And I just think that is something that could potentially be in the works, like moving down forward.
Yeah, possibly. I can see that for sure.
Yeah. But I mean, I am really excited to see, because there's so many like small and unanswered questions we have, but like our biggest villain is out of it now. And we did get some footage like in some of the, I think it was the mid-season trailer with Daredevil and Punisher together again, and Punisher shooting some of the anti-vigilante task force.
Yeah, I feel like that was going to be one story thread that was still going to be kind of followed up on. Yeah, still. Yeah. So
I mean, if that's what's coming up, I mean, these last 2 episodes are going to be insane.
Yeah, we're gonna be set up with some good stuff. And if I remember correctly, a lot of the press tour interviews with like Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox and them, a lot of them were saying that this next episode 8, is like the one they're really looking forward to people seeing now too. So, and I think episode 4 was one of them as well. So, and that was the one with Punisher and that great Punisher and Matt scene too. So, yeah, every time I see those videos where they're like, yeah, I want to see you guys watch this episode, I always keep like a particular eye on them. Like, okay, yeah, I can see why they were saying that now. So yeah, I'm particularly looking forward to this week's episode for sure.
Yeah, same. I cannot wait. I'm here for all of these. All these episodes have been great. I am so excited to kind of, you know, further everything down until we get like this explosion or collision in all of these different storylines that we may not even get the payoff for, you know, before the end of the season, because, you know, they're filming the second season very quickly afterwards. Yeah. So obviously they're, you know, some of those storylines are going to be extended, and I'm excited. I'm excited for the whole thing. But as we always say, that's what we think. Let us know in the comments below. What did you think of episode 7? And were you Team Danny's for Muse's identity, or you Team Rico, and you knew all along that it was clearly Bookshop Guy? Let us know in the comments below. I won't. Anyone who's on my side, we can collectively, just be like, are bad. Anyway, and don't forget, like, subscribe, and tune in for all the newest updates on audio and video podcast releases. Bye, everybody!
Poppin' Off presents That Recap Show.